I'm so excited. Okay. So excited to chat with you all tonight about a topic that I'm actually really, really excited about and kind of turning into just a little bit of passion, I think, and that's mindset. And I first want to hear from you guys. Some of you unmute yourself and tell me what comes to mind when you hear the word mindset.
How you approach a situation.
Okay.
I think of the roller coaster that is network marketing.
The roller coaster, that's what?
That is network marketing.
Okay.
Positive or negative?
Mm-hmm.
Determination.
Mm-hmm. Couple others.
Attitude and posture.
Nice. I like this. Okay. Maybe one or two more. Oh, someone's chatting in here. Okay. Growth.
Dedication and consistency.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. So it's not a foreign topic for you guys. So that's great. My intent for tonight is to dive in a little bit deeper and hopefully identify some areas that might be holding us back, limiting us, just keeping us stuck per se, and recognizing some things. So I'm going to read this book, The Power of Five for Network Marketing by John Maxwell. It's an awesome one. And he has power number 3 is on mindset. And I'm going to read on one of the pages here a couple quotes, because you're going to hear it over and over and over again. That mindset is 80-90% of what we do here in network marketing, right? So this was a quote by Dale Carnegie in How to Win Friends and Influence People. The biggest lesson I have ever learned is the stupendous importance of what we think. If I knew what you think, I would know what you are, for your thoughts make you what you are. By changing our thoughts, we can change our lives. And then another quote here in one of his books that he wrote. He says, no matter who you are exactly where your thoughts have brought you. And tomorrow you will be where your thoughts take you. And so there's just, you're going to like, and I have seen this through my journey and all the books and all the podcasts, like the things that you hear, it's just like, it's really controlling your thinking. And because that will infiltrate into all these other areas, like you guys just mentioned, the roller coaster of network marketing, like that is ups and downs, emotions, fear, failure. Are you a positive or negative person? The determination, or are you going to quit? Attitude, the growth, dedication. So all of that, the consistency, like that all starts in your mind and what we're thinking. So there's another thing, a quote I was going to say. It's not that successful people don't have negative thoughts or doubts. It's that they know what to do with negative thoughts. And so I think just, again, kind of identifying where we're at with our meter of like, are you a negative thinker or a positive thinker? And then what do you do with them? How do you replace the negative patterns or thought processes that you have? Does anyone have any experiences with changing the tape or the reel that plays in your mind? Like, I would love to hear, unmute yourself if there's been something that you're like, I used to think this way. I had to reroute my brain and think this way. Maybe not. Well, that's just totally fine.
I can share one, Hannah.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I used to think that if somebody quit, that it was my fault, and I had to rewrite that. That was a big one.
That's a really good example. I'll share one that I had identified for myself, and that was failure. And that was like, if I didn't hit the goal, you guys, I went for Sapphire 4 times. and I missed, I think it was another rank, Ruby rank, a one time before I actually hit it. Like, and that can feel so defeating and feel like, because you pour so much into it, right? When there's a rank month and we like hold on to those ranks. And yeah, I missed Sapphire by 4 orders 1 month. And so it can mess with your mind. And like, that was really where I identified this idea of failure in having a healthy view of it. And so again, that's kind of controlling that mindset and the emotions that can be attached to things. And so really viewing failure as a positive thing, like it's a lesson learned. It's not something that we need to feel defeated from, right? So any other ones that come to mind before I move on?
I used to think that someone quitting the business meant that I didn't lead them well, and I gave them the same information as all the other people. So it wasn't that their success or failure was dictated on me. It was just their choice and timing.
Yeah. Another great example. Those are very like real with what we do here, because people are going to quit on us. Yeah, it's part of that. So another thought on this part is that you're never going to outperform the thoughts that you are thinking. And so I'm going to dive into that a little bit with the scripts that we can play in our mind. And if you have a pen and paper, you can write these down. So we could change, this is a way that we can change how we're thinking. I want to do this can shift to I am doing this. I can do this to I will do this. I'll try can shift to I won't give up. Can I can shift to how can I? And a lot of those statements can really pinpoint something that might be holding us back. Like maybe it is that we have hard times, like there's a lot going on in our life where we just will come up with all the excuses and the reasons on why we're not going to accomplish the task that needs to be done, or we're not going to show up that day, or like you create a story in your mind of like all the reasons why this isn't going to be a priority. The failure component, I'll try this, but that's not solid, because as soon as someone quits on you, or as soon as you don't meet your mark or your goal, all of those doubts, you get flooded with this, like, I'm not capable of this. I gave it my best shot. I'm done. So again, that's shifting, like I'll try to, I'm not giving up. Or you add in the, can I do this to how can I do this? And then you become an overcomer. Then you're figuring out, like, there's nothing that's going to stand in my way. This part didn't work. Great. Okay, well, let's shift, pivot, and I'm going to go find another way to make this happen. Criticism, we'll all have that. We're all going to have the naysayers. We're all going to have the people who try to bring us back to normal so that they feel more comfortable. They're like, whether that's family or friends, like there will be hurtful things that we're going to come across. And so my question for you is, are you in a place where you let those things derail you? Because that's going to very closely relate to where your mindset's at. Any comments on that? Anyone have experience with any of those hard times, failure, criticism, excuses, and kind of reaching a healthier place with those?
Yeah, for sure. We were talking today, I think it was today on a power hour, like you have to make that decision, like you have to have that decision and that whatever it takes attitude, because it is going to be hard. I mean, I've shared before at my old church, one of the pastors, and he apologized to me later, but one of the, not senior pastor, but a different pastor, like talked on stage about plexus, like specifically about plexus, and not in a positive tone. And so you have to get to a place where you like make that choice of, am I passionate about what I'm doing? Do I believe in what I'm doing? And not let those naysayers, which you will have, whether it's family, pastors, close friends, or random strangers, like you have to have that drive and that goal and that belief and that passion in what you're doing. So that way you can have that emotional maturity and that healthy mindset to know hurting people hurt people. And you're doing something that has been like, that has set your soul on fire.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that example. Does anyone else have something that comes to mind? I had someone, a family member who in our conversation, it felt very much of an attack on just like the judgment of you have no boundaries, you don't have any, this has taken over your life and there's no capacity for anything outside of it. I mean, it was just very strong feelings. And I was like, my husband and I are on the same page of what's happening, and my choice to pursue and build something versus going and working 40 hours like you and leaving your family. Like you, there was just no, it really took me back and was very hurtful, but I needed to process through that. Like she didn't understand what it is that I'm doing. And I actually do have a lot of the time flexibility to be present with my family, but I still have to fit in and say no to some things so that I can say yes to this, so that I do have this time flexibility. So anyways, that's another thing where it's just like, it's really being able to step back and remove yourself from some of these different indicators, like I said, criticism, failure, hard times, and regulating that emotion that can come with it. And then replacing maybe some of those lies that are infiltrating in with truth statements and like what is actually happening in this picture. There's some
I
good
think,
stuff happening in the chat. Oh yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, I totally resonate with that and the fact that like, when somebody has something like that, or even just objections that we already know are coming, the biggest thing that I resonate with is just really extending grace, because one, they don't have a clue, and two, I used to be that. And so it's like, okay, they just don't know. They don't know, and that's okay. And I actually like almost encourage like spouses to be skeptical and, all those things, because I'd be like, you know what? Good for them, because they care about you. And if they didn't, then I'd be worried. And so almost having the mindset of like, you already know the objections are going to come, and so you get to already pre-plan of like, hey, I had the cost objection, I had the like, but so how did I overcome that? And so then you're welcoming it. You're like, so what does your husband think about this? Like, I want to know. And asking those questions. And I think that allows for the space for there to be like real conversation. And then if someone's not ready to have that conversation, then it's like, well, that's totally okay. Like, you can agree to disagree. No one has to be fully on board with whatever you do. And they don't live your life, and they don't pay your bills, and they don't feed your family. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Emily goes, can I just say I love seeing all of you that are doing laundry and parenting. It's seriously, it's awesome. Like you're in it, even though there's so much else happening with our demands. Showing your no excuses mindset. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to read another part of John Maxwell's Power of Five book. And it's talking about having a right mindset, being intentional. Intentional thinking precedes intentional living. The intentional life is deliberate, consistent, and willful. The unintentional life is passive, inconsistent, and disappointing. Sadly, most people accept their life instead of living it. They get the leftovers instead of the main course. Let me ask you a question. Do you spend today preparing for tomorrow or repairing from yesterday? People with the right mindset are intentional and prepare. People with the wrong mindset are unintentional and repairing. And so I think that's just kind of like a dagger almost on like, are we being proactive or reactive to our life? And the purpose and passion with what we have here with Plexus, and doing the hard things of planning and preparing our schedule, our time, our disciplines, like all of that is incorporated with being purposeful. Or are we reactive, where the day's not going right, didn't get anything done that we wanted to, the emotions come in and we're irritable and angry and frustrated. Like that is all wrapped into mindset, whether you're aware of it or not. And so, again, my hope is just to try to pinpoint some of these things that really does tie into it. So, yeah, Jordan said, treating it like a business and not a hobby. And if you are working for a boss and you're punching a clock, you don't just get to show up like a hobby, or you'll be fired. And so that's one of the blessings and the curses with what we get to do here is be our own boss, set our own schedule, but we have to show up and we have to be consistent and we can't have the excuses. And the discipline is a huge thing that you'll hear over and over. So our mindset keeps us stuck or propels us forward. The mindset will unlock your opportunity. And so just kind of reiterating again, how critical this is. So another question of reflection: when you are interacting with people, are you an encouragement and lifting other people up? So what we say is a positive person, or are you a draining person and negative and sucking the energy from people? If I said, does anyone have someone in your life that you leave the conversation and you're exhausted or you're drained or you're just like, whoa, they need help? Like, I'm sure we can all name people, but I want you to point the finger at yourself. Who are you when you're around other people? Callie, I call them energy vampires. Totally. So that is a part of mindset. Are you a positive or negative? We all default to negative. That is like, that's human nature. So it takes purpose and intention with not going down that rabbit trail, not choosing that path. You have to choose positivity and the positive thinking. Let's see, someone recommended a book, Energy Bus about mindset.
Hey,
So-
Nan, can I speak to something on that?
Yeah.
Just about the victim mindset. So our senior golds and above are reading this book. If you guys haven't read it yet, it's so good. John Maxwell, just everything he says is gold. But this one's called Developing the Leader Within You 2.0. And we just finished the chapter on attitude. And I love this. He quotes a gentleman named Robert Quinn. And he says, Robert says, living with someone who chooses to play the victim role is draining. Working in an organization where many people have chosen the victim role is absolutely depressing. Like a disease, the condition tends to spread. And I thought that was super powerful because we all have a choice to be a victim or a victor. And I think there are a lot of people that choose to be the victim because oh, I've tried, it's really hard, it's just not working out for me, like I've put in the work and people are quitting and they're really focusing on the negative, which is easy to do. I think it's easy for us to default that way, but I thought it was super powerful where he says, like a disease, that condition tends to spread. And so you are the creator of your culture, you're the leader of your team. And what do you want that to look like? Do you want it to be a disease that spreads and kills what you've created? Or do you want what you have created to grow and to blossom? And that comes from, and they have so many examples in here, but one of the things he says is a leader's attitude must exemplify resolve, tenacity, focus, determination, and commitment. It must demonstrate consistency, see possibilities, and fight for victories during tough times. I just think that that is a really good reminder that every single one of you here, you are a leader. You are on this golden above call. Like you are a leader. And so you get to choose how you lead your team. And it's saying, if you want to be a positive leader, you need to be tenacious. You need to be positive. You need to have that victor mindset. So I thought that was really powerful.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the victim mindset?
I feel like this is a real example of this, but every time I hear the word victim, I always think of our message threads. Like we always know the girl who is complaining because her points are wrong and woe is me. We always know the girl who, anytime there's an issue with a shipping or a code or whatever, that it's going to be negative, right? So it's like we as leaders, we are the ripple effect of that. So
Mhm. Yeah. Another example that came to mind for me, because victim mindset is one of my points to talk about. So Emily was segued right into it. Is there's no momentum on my team. No one's happening. There's no business builders or no one wants to do this with me. Victim mindset right there. You have this posture of there's nothing I can do. You're finger pointing. My leaders aren't doing this. These people aren't showing up. And instead of taking ownership, like, what am I have control over? What do I need to start doing to show up and bring the energy and bring this excitement and bring the new life to my team? Who do I need to go find to come do this with me if no one else is ready to work right now? Okay, you are in control of what you get to. Like, you're not going to control what other people are doing. So go be the example, go be the leader, and stop the finger pointing and the like, woe is me attitude. There's another
And
part
can I
about,
share a little on that?
yeah,
Can you hear me okay?
yeah,
Okay, so I'm not really talking about like the negative Nancy's who come into the thread and are like PO'd about shipping all the time. Like I'm not talking about those types of people. I'm talking about, so something happens, you miss your rank, right? By 4 orders. So, and Brittany Duke's really great about this and helping me through these things is like, sit in that, feel that emotion, be a victim for a minute. You don't have to voice it to a bunch of people. You don't have to voice it to the thread, but like feel sorry for yourself and like really sit and live in that emotion, but move forward because like you want to feel that emotion, because if you don't feel it, then you're not going to know, like, I never want to feel this again, So like live in it and feel it, but then pivot. You said that earlier, makes me think of Friends every time. Pivot, yes, and propel forward, knowing that this is not a feeling that I ever want to feel again. So I always tell my girls, sit in it and feel it, but you got to do something about it.
yeah. I love that. It's totally goes right with this. John Maxwell says you develop muscle in your attitude. And I love that because it takes intention and purpose. So you're developing the muscle in your attitude when you believe there is always an answer and that you are a part of that answer. And then it's like, it's the spirit in you that causes you to stand when others sit, to move forward while others wait, to find the answers when other people sit in their questions. You're disowning helplessness when you say to yourself, I can make a difference. And so, yeah, it's definitely like an attitude and a posture, which I think someone had mentioned that when mindset came to mind when you talked about it. So, Jordan said, what did you learn and how are you going to grow moving forward? Yeah, exactly. So it's this like adjustment instead of sitting and playing in this woe is me. Any other thoughts on that? Victim mindset?
There was
Sorry.
actually, John Maxwell did a little reel today, and he was talking about just real briefly show me a person who has positive anticipation, and you'll see somebody who gives 100% commitment and effort to what they're doing. But then you show them somebody with a negative anticipation, then they're going to be postponing, they're avoiding, they're PO'd about the shipping, they're looking at all of that stuff. They're not doing anything with it other than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, some people said they saw that today. So another point with mindset and attitude is that there's a no whining zone. And he's talking about how you have to put your attitude in charge of emotions. So this all kind of connects and correlates. So yes, it's okay to feel emotion. It's okay to feel things, like those are real, but it's your choice to sit there and stay inactive in it, or you press in, you learn from it, you're growing through it. You're not going to let it stop you. And you don't whine about it. You're not going to sit there and whine and complain. Anyone have experience with that? It takes purpose, like intentionality.
I remember Megan Goff. If you guys don't listen to her trainings, you really should. She is just the cream of the crop. She is authentic. She is real, and she's not salesy at all. But I remember her saying that, your business, you have ebbs and flows in your business all the time. And she said, and when you're in a season when there's not a lot of momentum, or you might be having that discouragement, she has said, like, really lean into that. Make some really bold posts, double up on your IPA. And so I know, like, all of us have been in places where we feel like, okay, well, we're doing all of the things. We're training ourselves. We're trying to get into our threads. We're adding people ourselves. Like, we get into that place where we're doing all those things and we're like, what else do we do? And I think it's our job and our joy to, like, bring energy into our team, bring new life into our team. And that new life can come, that new team can come, that new team member can bring so much momentum, but you be the one to bring that in by being more bold in your reach outs, more bold in your posting, and don't feel like you're at a dead end because you don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, or you don't see your people moving. Oftentimes, like, that at that point, for me, at least in my business, there's been huge growth that is, like, right on the other side of that. But it's a matter of just not giving up and really leaning in. Sorry, I'm talking so much.
Oh, don't be sorry. It's great. I want discussion.
I was gonna say as far as the barely missing the mark, the thing that gave me a change in attitude when that happened was, so I don't know if Brittany's on the call, but when Brittany Albers, we were both going for Ruby the same time, and she missed it by 2 orders, and I was like, oh, come on, I was like, okay, it's fine. You'll completely surpass it the next month. Well, that's when she freaking double ranked Ruby and Senior Ruby. And so I always remind myself of that. So then when in January, I didn't rank up, but a lot of my team did. And it was fun. And we were in Silver Stars. So that was really freaking cool. And, but I didn't rank up, and I was just going, totally fine. It's happening next month. And so it was just kind of nice to just, like, continue to, put the blinders on, help my teammates of, like, what they needed. And then just know that it's going to come. It's just a matter of whenever God's timing is, for one, which I can't dictate, but I know what I can do is help my team and keep moving forward. And so that really helped out a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great example of just the ownership over your emotions and your thoughts and moving forward instead of sitting in a place of, like, negativity or okay, just a couple of things and then that's all I have. So we're just about done here. But I think a sub point to this victim mindset is, are you coachable and teachable? Because a lot of times we will look at other people and point the finger instead of, like, okay, what do I need to change? Again, I mean, like I said, it's kind of like the sub thing, but really being reflective with, am I willing to listen to what these successful people have to say? Am I willing to take some loving criticism with things that are not going well or things that I should change, or am I talking too much instead of listening, that kind of thing. So again, that's a part of the mindset component that we need to be aware of. Awareness is that first step. And then replacing or changing our action is that second step. And then the final thing I wanted to talk through is persistence and your commitment. That's also part of this mindset. And I'm going to share just a quick little part of my story. I was senior gold for like 15 months before hitting Ruby. And I had two close friends who had reached gold. They both quit. They were done. And up to that point, I'd really had more of a mindset of like, this would be nice. It'd be great. Yeah, I went to convention and I saw Jules on the stage and I was like, I could do that. Like but I sat in this space of like, it'll be nice if it happens, versus I had this moment in my journey where it was just like, okay, where's that? Like, I can either fade out with these girls who quit, or I press in and make a shift and things change. And if I do that, what does that look like? And there's this idea, and you'll hear it. Do you have your back door, or have you removed it? Are you holding on to something? Or is there like this, I'm doing whatever it takes to make things happen? That's removing the back door. Another term will be, have you drawn your line in the sand? Right? And those are just some analogies of like, what is your attitude with your business and moving forward? And like I said at the beginning, flipping the script of like, this would be nice if it worked out, to I'm going to figure it out and I'm gonna do whatever it takes, because there's a big difference in your actions and the thoughts that precede the actions. And so, Emily, yeah, it has been really awesome, like seeing the journey and just not quitting with that, because when you don't have a healthy mindset with it, like that's just a really easy place to sit. Or if you feel stuck, like you're not going anywhere, it's a really hard place to be, versus choosing the heart of moving forward and figuring out what needs to happen and what needs to shift. So ending on that, I'm just going to read through John Maxwell again really quick. He talks about persistence and commitment. Never have you seen a persistent person who lacked commitment, and never have you seen a committed person who wasn't persistent. Put those two words together in your life, and when you can't find a way, you'll make a way. And so that really just goes along with all of this. And so my question for you guys is, have you removed your back door? Are you managing your emotions? And are you aware of what you're thinking? Those are some like things to be really reflective on, so that you can move forward and you can be successful in showing up every day with how you need to. So any other comments on that or thoughts? Okay. Well, then we're going to hop off here and everyone can move on with your evenings. But hopefully this was helpful in some capacity, but it was really fun. Bye, ladies.
Thank you, Hannah.
You're welcome.